Game of Thrones, Season 7, Episode 7, The Dragon and the Wolf. My review. Okay, so here's what's going. My name is Justice Simmons. This is Project 3319. On this channel, occasionally, most oftenly when I try hard enough, I can get videos up talking about Game of Thrones. Now, I couldn't the last couple because there were malfunctions with the camera and I was busy with other stuff. But I made sure that I was going to talk about this episode. And boy, do I need to talk about it. Okay, let me make this spin real quick. I had to spin in the chair just to make sure this is all right. Okay, so here's the deal. Before I get into the spoiler section of this review, let me talk non-spoilerly. Personally, this is a wonderful episode. This is an amazing episode. Things were done in this episode that I've never seen in my life. It was great. The scores were fantastic. The set design was great. The score was fantastic. The clothing and design of everything was great. All the acting was superfluous. Almost. No, that's the wrong word. All the acting was great. The acting was great. Why did I say superfluous? The acting was superb. Didn't see necessarily every character we've seen come to know of this season, but we saw just about everyone we could. It's about an hour and a half long. Great episode. Now, let me talk about this with spoilers. So let me stand up for a second. This is what I did back when Bronn had to do that thing with the dragon. Alright, let me back up for a minute. Let me just... Okay, let's get into this. Okay. Alright, so... That's not a dragon imitation. These dragons... Oh my god, I gotta wait till 2019 to see the rest of this. Are you shooting me in the leg? So... Okay, so the show starts out, it's a very tense episode. Sitting on pins and needles of episode because you're thinking, okay, someone's gonna die. Every scene is like, okay, someone's gonna die right here. Everyone needs to be careful. Everyone needs to chill. So someone we like don't need to die right here. The whole episode, it's like that. And it's very unfortunate for some people in this episode. But deaths do come. Anyway, so it starts off, they got Jon Snow and Daenerys and Tyrion, they're showing this, they're gonna go show this White Walker that they captured to Cersei and Jaime to show proof, hey, we need to work together to stop the real threat. And what ends up happening is, this is a great scene to start off with because all these characters that haven't interacted or seen each other in a number of episodes get to have interactions again. It's great. You get to see Tyrion and Bronn have at each other again. You get to see the Hound and Brienne of Tarth, have a little bit of a talk. She's like, I thought I killed you. Came close. You get to see a number of those types of things where it's kind of like, wow. Yeah, I remember when they were hanging out. That was cool. That was a cool moment. Anyway, all the kerfuddle is done, and then they have to show upon Cersei this White Walker. The Hound brings it up, basically lays it out on him. It starts running, it's chained up, and it comes after him, he slices it. What's brilliant about this, what's absolutely brilliant about how it is handled, is that they don't kill the thing. They could easily just be like, boom, you just saw that, right? But no, they take the time to show you that, why am I getting a shadow? They take the time to show you that Cersei doesn't quite believe what she is seeing. And they take the time to show you what she needs to see about these White Walkers. She needs to see that they can't be killed by your regular weapons. She needs to see that just because you cut it off its limbs doesn't mean it's dead. Just like it's like that episode in The Walking Dead from way back in season 2 where Shaime opened fire on the zombies in Hershel's shed. It was, like, bam, it's heart, it's lungs, why is it still moving? That whole thing, it just keeps shooting, showing you that's not alive. That is not a normal threat. That is not something that you can cure. That is not something that you can reason with. It is a whole different entity now. It is a whole new threat, and it's not out here for any emotion or anything like that. It's out here to kill. That's it. That's the end of it. So, Jon Snow goes about explaining it, the Hound goes about showing it, and eventually Jon Snow kills it with a great speech. And one of the things that you gotta take note of here is that Kit Harington, it must be written into his contract where every episode he has to say at least one good thing that sounds like a speech. This dude delivers 2 in this episode, and they're both phenomenal. I swear, this guy could. God, he could talk a broom into sweeping itself. He is that good at this. Jesus. But anyway, they show her that seriously. Like, okay, I see it. I see it. Okay, so, align yourself with my house, and we cool. That's what she tells him. And then Jon, being the noble knucklehead that he is, says, I cannot align myself with Daenerys Targaryen. And she's over there swooning. Meanwhile, Cersei's kind of like, well, if you're not going to team with me, then, I feel like you're going to try to take me out. So, this is over as far as I'm concerned. She walks off. Tyrion's giving him, what did Tyrion say? Oh my God, it was a great line. I can't say it though, because it's not family friendly. But anyway, it goes on about, and then during this time, what was cool that we didn't really see, but it was cool to see. Bronn was like, him and Bronn and Podrick, they walked off. They just walked off. They were like, before all the mess got started with the White Walker, they walked off, had a drink, let the grown-ups talk. As Bronn said. Bronn with the Blackwater. Anyway, yeah, so they're all giving, like, Jon, you can't lie for once, and he's all about his word, and how about, if you keep, the more you lie, it's like, what's the word mean if you keep lying? Pretty soon the world just end up with just like lies and more lies. There's gotta be some truth. It's a great thing for someone that's honest and noble and all that. Tyrion eventually decides, okay, I'll go talk to Cersei. And him and, Peter Dinklage and, God, why am I forgetting her name now? Oh my goodness. Lena Headey. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, because my God, this was a phenomenal scene. Just seeing these two just interact for the first time in a long time. And just her just being like, you killed my family. Him admitting it and trying to reason with her. She's like, she ain't trying to hear it. And him trying to reason with her. Look, I loved the kids. I love, Marcella. I love Tommen. I loved them. He loved them. He did. He's reasoning with her. He's like, for those crimes, I am sorry for those. I will never forgive myself for those 2 crimes. But for killing my own father, who tried to have me killed for a crime I didn't commit, that I will not apologize for. And then he reasons with her about the drag, and then she basically, he was trying to reason to her, like, why, I'm telling why I care that Daenerys ends with this all ends with Daenerys on the throne. Why? Because he believes she'll make the world a better place. In the long run, that's what she will do. Cersei's not worried about that. Cersei, from the get-go, all she's been concerned about is her family. That's all she's concerned about. That's all she cares about. So, through that reasoning, and he finds out, and he, cracks the code in his head. Oh, snap, she's pregnant. So through that, and through more conversation and more great acting and dialogue, Tyrion eventually comes back while Jon Snow and Daenerys are talking, and they are having a little bit of a tender moment. He basically says, okay, and she comes back with him, and they got her whole royal guard, and they're all walking in line. Everyone knows their place, and it's at this moment. Well, when Tyrion came up to meet Cersei, you notice, okay, the Mountain is a big, big man. Now, the guy that plays him, Thor, he's not Chris Hemsworth Thor. There's a guy named Thor that plays this dude. He's how do you say that name? It's not on the list here. But yeah, he's literally named Thor. Thor Johnson or something. Yeah, it's hard to pronounce, but it's Thor. Big man, strong man, big dude. And he has an interaction with the Hound, who's also a big fella, and he's basically like, he's like, the Hound basically tells him, it's like, I don't know if you're in there or not, it doesn't really matter. The person that'll come to kill you, they've always been coming to kill you, and they will kill you. So, it's, that moment is just the Mountain staring there, because for the longest time, we've been sitting there like, okay, the Mountain's not really there. He's there, but he ain't really there. But now, just because of that one interaction, I'm not so convinced that the Hound is an empty mind. just to follow orders. There's something there. It reinvigorates because back when they turned him into Frankenstein's monster, we were like, okay, this is interesting. We were like, we took the Maester by his word, but we were like, he's there, but he ain't there. Yet again, now we're kind of like, okay, something's there. You know, just by the look, and it was nothing really there. I think there's something there in the mountain. There's something there within there. The mountain was a horrible human being, but this beast that we have now, jeez. Okay, whew. It's interesting. It's very interesting. Anyway, Cersei comes back and she basically says, "Okay, I've been convinced. Okay, well, let's do this thing. We'll worry about the rest later. Right now, let's group together and just handle this business." And they draw about plans, and basically, Jon Snow and Daenerys, they're gonna go they're gonna go fly north to go deal with the situation where they can. Meanwhile, Tyrion? The Lannisters. Jaime Lannister. Okay, so Jaime basically what he does is he's setting up. He's prepared to do this whole thing. This is jumping ahead a little bit, but Jaime, he's prepared to go do this whole thing of, oh yeah, we're gonna work with them. We're gonna handle business. We're gonna go march here. We're gonna go scope this out and all that stuff. He's doing soldier stuff. He had a conversation with Cersei. Cersei basically like, oh, she basically like, I always knew you were the stupidest of the Lannisters. She was like, you really didn't believe what I said, did you? Like, we're not really working with them. This is all just she's still not, for whatever reason, she's still like, we're still not working with them. This is still, I'm still in charge here, and we're not going to work with them. All this kind of stuff where it's just like looking out for her own family and whatever. And Jaime's basically like, and I rub my face because this is basically what Jaime's like when he's dealing with it. And he's just like, look, okay, so say, okay, so basically what you're saying, sis, is, let me just make sure I got this right, sis. Because let me just make sure I understand what you're saying. You're saying, what? White Walkers, they can't swim. So, we just gonna go find ourselves an island and live, right? Okay, so here's the problem with that. One, because she's like, oh, your idea is stupid. We're gonna get him stupid. It's pointless. We just need to run. And he's basically like, look, whatever we do, it's pointless. Because look, if we run, you serious? Okay, we run, right? We run. And they win without us, Daenerys and Jon Snow and all them, who do you think they're gonna come after, huh? Who? If we're gonna die regardless, probably, And he's like, I swore, no, I keep my word. That's where Jaime gets like, I'll keep my word and do what he does before his job. All that stuff is really cool, man. Jaime's finally a character we kind of like outside of this whole Cersei Lannister stuff. But yeah, and she's basically like, no, you're not gonna do this, and she threatened, and it looked like she threatened to kill him with the mountain. And I saw that, and the scene was setting up, and I was like, no. Again, this is probably the most effective heel turn, and by heel turn, that's a pro wrestling term. A heel turn is turning someone into a bad guy. A face turn is turning a bad person into a good person. This is probably the best face turn for Jaime that I've seen in a long time. It is really well done, really efficient, and it comes to the point where it's like, okay, he's gonna kill him, and I'm gonna be sad. And they're done. He's like, he called her bluff, and he just walked off, and he's like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna go do what I need to do elsewhere, but I can't do this whole thing with Cersei no more. And he basically walks off. So they probably ain't talking. Jump back up a little bit. We're gonna talk about Euron and the Greyjoys. When they all first came in to show the White Walker, before everything got started, Euron started talking crap to Tyrion because he's an imp, and to Theon, and he was like, "Look, I don't care." He just said, "Hey, just to irritate, Euron's he's just out there instigating. He really is just ever grinding someone's gears." Great actor though, great performance. Gosh, I wish his name was listed here, but yeah, Euron Greyjoy, that character, because he's basically like, look, I don't care what's going on here. I got your sister. I will kill her, Theon. I will kill Yara. And I'm sitting there like, no, don't kill Yara. Yara's one of my favorites. Don't kill Yara. Yara's awesome. I love Yara Greyjoy. So, but when he sees the White Walker, and it's after it's been killed, he walks up to it in his whole pirate, Scottish garb, and he basically goes about saying, I've traveled all over the world. See, Pio Asbeck, I'm butchering this guy's name, but this is a great performance. Probably the best heel we got in this show right now. But anyway, he basically like, okay, I've traveled over the world. This is the only thing I've seen that scares me. So I'm taking my Iron Fleet back to where I came from. He said, basically he was like, no, I'm dipped out of here, So that's what we thought. And Cersei was basically like, you didn't believe he really would do that. To Jaime, she was like, you really didn't believe he would do that, right? He's doing something else, working on the slick to handle some other business. Okay, cool, fine, whatever. That'll be interesting. Hopefully, it won't get in the way of the goal of killing all the White Walkers. Anyway, what else we got? Okay, let's go to Winterfell. Let's go to the Stark house, handle all the business there before we jump back to the other business. So the Starks, Bran Stark, knows everything, But the first thing we see is Sansa and Littlefinger. They're having a conversation where it looks like Littlefinger is manipulating Sansa, twisting her because he's all smart and everything, and he knows stuff. He knows the way with what. He's always scheming behind the scenes. He's basically, and it leads to what we believe is, Sansa thinks Arya's out there to kill her. So what she gonna do is she gonna have Arya killed. She gonna get her go before she got herself. Whew. So they have a trial and everything, and this looks like, okay, Arya's in here, and we're sitting in there. I'm sitting there watching my buddies, and Arya walks in. There's all these, what would be police officers in the court today, standing around just like in case something pop off, and she's standing there and looking around just like Roman Reigns, just. Like she ain't afraid. She like, look, I'll kill every single one of these jokers standing around me. I ain't afraid of this, And it's kind of like it reminded me of Watchmen. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. That whole thing. Trial gets started, and Sansa basically flips the script. She's like, so how do you answer to these crimes, Littlefinger? And Littlefinger, it's like that meme in February. It's just like, excuse me? Like, he had the look on his face, that actor, he had the look on his face like, wait, that's not the line. It was like, time out, cut. Yeah, that was a woo. Aiden Gillian. Ooh, he had to look like, wait, what? I'm sorry? Me? Commit crap? What? I don't know. Sansa just unleashes, and Arya looks at him like, did you not hear? And like, they basically unleash like, oh yeah, we know you did these things, all these horrible things you did out through all these seasons. They don't know what season, but all these horrible things you did to us, to my family. You betrayed my family. And Bran standing there looking like Professor X with hair, just standing there looking like, I saw it all. And then everybody, it's just like, and Littlefinger's there begging and pleading. He's like, no, you didn't. At first, he's like, it's like the 7 stages of death is like, all this stuff where it's like, anger, denial, and all that stuff, and then eventually ends with begging, and then, and it's like, and then he's just on his knees like, I love your mother. He's like, did you betray her? And he's like, I loved you more than anyone else, Sansa. And she's like, well, you betrayed me too. And she basically sends him to death. Arya walks up, just slick, cuts him at the throat. He bleeding out. He can't speak. Which, having watched this show, let me just point this out. Having watched the show like I've watched this show, my God, is that a horrible way to die? You sitting there trying to, especially after watching War for the Planet of the Apes, you just sitting there just like, can't breathe, just bleeding out. That's horrible. Oh, that's horrible. Not the worst way, but that's horrible. Horrible. But, yeah, so, Littlefinger, done. He's been deleted. So, no more Littlefinger, no more of that, mess. And then later on in the episode, Arya and Sansa have a conversation where they're kind of like sisters. They don't really interact because one of them's trying to be Deathstroke and the other one's trying to be I don't know, something or other. The Lady of Winterfell, she's doing what she's doing, and they both pretty much admit, yeah, I couldn't do it. They both pretty much admit, they're like, yeah, I couldn't do what you do. You're better at than me. And they were like, oh, that was nice of you to say. And they're like, well, don't get used to it because you're my sister. I need to stay real tough to you on the regular. But anyway, yeah, that was cool. Well, yeah, that was cool. Bran ends up, Samuel Tarly makes it to Winterfell, and he sees Bran. This was the funniest thing, probably the funniest thing that I have seen in this show for a long time. I don't know, because this season was so awesome, I'm probably missing something, but maybe the Bronze said something funnier, but geez, this was so funny. Because Bran and Sam meet. I should say. And Sam walks up to him, and he says, I forget what questions he asked him. Probably like, what you been up to would be what the modern translation would be. And, Bran says, oh, I'm the Three-Eyed Raven. In that very serious, very monotone, very robotic, way of, I'm the Three-Eyed Raven. And Sam's reaction, just like, oh, yeah. Yeah. Like, oh, yeah, that's nice, yeah. I don't really know what that is, or that means. And he's like, I see everything past and present. It's just like, okay, this is cool. Like my buddy said when we were riding home, it was just like, I hope they form a bond. Because my whole thing is like, someone got to put some life in the Bran. Just like he sees everything, knows everything. It's like, does he, want anything now? Like, come on, like, I need, like, motive. Like, what is Bran's whole end goal? Like, if he sees everything, like, is he worried or, I need, I need something to chew on, just be like, okay, some character stuff, Even, he's just robotic now, which is unfortunate. He's even less human than Vision in Marvel. But yeah, Sam could probably pull him out of it, and Sam pretty much is like, Jon is not who he says he is. And, Bran says, Jon who's not who he says he is. And he says something to the effect of, I know who he is. Sam says, I know who he is because of all the annulment stuff that Gilly pointed out earlier on in a couple episodes back. And Bran takes a trip back, and he takes a trip back where he just... I assume when Sam asked, are you sure? That Bran just went like... And he was like, Bran, you there? Because Bran must have traveled back and just been like... Because it goes back to a scene where he sees, Rhaegar Targaryen... No. Rhaegar? Yeah, no? Who is it? Anyway, he sees what, what would be the creation of Jon Snow. And that in their place is something we'll see later, or I'll talk about later. But yeah, he basically sees it. It's like a, marriage kind of thing for that time. And yeah, it was one of those things where it was like, oh goodness, yeah, they're really going forward with this. Anyway, what else is there before I jump there? I think that might be about it. Oh, Theon. So what happens with Theon? He goes basically, he has a talk with Jon Snow. Before Jon Snow leaves Dragonstone, he has a talk with Theon. And it basically goes along the lines with Theon's... It's that thing that we've kind of had that issue with Theon. Not him so much being a coward or, not getting over the abuse. Which, getting over the abuse of any type of abuse is hard. Given his is very difficult, I'm sure. But it was one of those things where he's not necessarily... He hasn't come around to the character we want or need him to be. So... he has a talk with Jon, basically, and it goes around like one of the issues we have with Theon, because his personal issues of not knowing where he truly lies. Is he Greyjoy or is he Stark? Because he raised in the Stark family, and Ned Stark, one of the favorite characters of all time, treated him better than his own father did, but he still where's his allegiance lie? And Snow basically, like I said earlier, with them speeches, Jon Snow delivers. Kit Harington. Ooh, this dude could have talked someone out the grave. It was phenomenal. He was basically like, yeah, I'm just as much a Stark as you are. You know, I can't forget. I can't. You know, I'm not the one to forgive you for a lot of your crimes. But for the crimes I can't forgive you, I do, and a bunch of other stuff. And it's just like, basically talks Theon off the ledge of like, look, you know, you're a family. You know, yeah, you did a lot of horrible stuff, but you're family. You know, you're both Greyjoy and you're a Stark. You know, do what you feel is necessary. And basically, Theon's like, I need to go save my sister. And Jon's like, well, what are you talking to me for? Get on that boat and go save your sister. And Jon walks off. And Theon finds that intestinal fortitude that we haven't quite seen from him since, gosh, way back in season, 3? So, he goes and, you know, talks to the crew that saved him after Euron took Yara. The crew that saved him, he goes and talks to him. He's like, we're gonna go save Yara. And they basically like the head guy there. He's like, nope. Look, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to this island. We're gonna kill all these men. Then we're gonna take their women. And Theon's like, that's not what Yara would have wanted. That's not what we agreed to do. You know, we're gonna go save her because she would have given her life. She would have come back for each and every last one of y'all. And there's about, I don't know, 20 of them there. And basically, guys, like, you know what? You abandoned her. Don't come and talk to me about going. You abandoned. Like, I ain't listening to you. I ain't taking no orders from you. Step off, little Theon. And Theon doesn't step off, and they get into a scuffle, and a long one at that, where Theon is getting his butt handed to him. And this might be the only part of the show that didn't, you know, gel well. Only because it felt comical, but it was like, I'm not even gonna say pro wrestling comical, but weirdly weird comical. Cause he's beating Theon's mind. He's like, don't you get up again. If you get up again, I'm gonna kill you. And he beating it. The dude's getting winded beating him, so he's out of shape, clearly. In terms of, you know, throwing hands, he ain't got Mayweather stamina, clearly. So, Theon's getting his butt handed to him. His face is all messed up. And the dude gets ready to deliver these final blows, and he goes to knee Theon in the groin. Boy, oh boy, it did. It was like Theon didn't even feel it, and he's just like, for obvious reasons, he's just like, he needs him like 3-4 times, and Theon's just standing there like, and he just headbutts him and starts beating him down. You know, wins by technical knockout, I guess, or KO really. And he says, we're gonna save Yara, and they're like, all right, cool, we're gonna go save Yara. And he walks off the beach. He probably got a concussion real bad. Tries to wash his face off because he is messed up. But yeah, that felt weird because it's like, that felt a little bit too much like cheesy movie right there. Just him just kneeing him and he didn't feel nothing. It's all dead. Hey, I'm not a doctor, but I would think, you know, as big as that dude is and as hard as he was kneeing him, he would have felt something. Anyway, okay, let's jump off to let's talk about this Jon Snow Daenerys thing. So, okay, like I said, this review is going to run long just because the episode was about an hour and a half. So, Jon Snow, Daenerys, they're on this boat. Yeah, I hear you. And like I said, this whole episode is like, you know, she's like dumped that. Well, earlier on through the season, it's been like, when, you know, in their interactions, it's been like, okay, you know, he you know, thinks she's gorgeous, as, you know, Emilia Clarke is. Emilia Clarke is a very beautiful woman. Daenerys Clarke is a very beautiful character. That was pointed out in one episode. He's like, yeah, I like, because Johnson, he was like, what do you think of Daenerys? And he was like, I like her heart. And he was like, yeah, I saw you looking at her heart. I know what that meant. And he's kind of smitten by her, and he believes in that she's a good person. And she challenges him in ways that he hasn't been challenged in a long time. I'm talking about eat grit long time. You know nothing, Jon Snow. Oh, I love the grit. Anyway, Daenerys, for him, she's basically like, look, you know, whatever. She's like, yeah, because she has a conversation with Tyrion about it, and Tyrion basically brings it up to her. You're like, yeah, he likes you, and she's basically like, what? Whatever. And she's basically, and you know, like all these, because she brings up a list of the men smitten by her, from Drogon to Dario, and it's like, and there's one other guy, and it's like, yeah, it's like, and Jon Snow is part of that list. He's like funny, all those people fell in love with you. And she's like, she's not in love with me. And she basically throws out, and she's like, one funny line, she was like, he's too short for me. It's like, I'm like, is he really that short? Maybe I'm not been paying attention the whole time I've been watching the show, but I don't think Jon Snow is honestly that short. Short, but in terms of like height between everybody, he ain't that short, is he? I mean, she's like, he's too short for me. Which is like, oh, I've heard that one before. Not me personally, but I've heard that one before. But yeah, that was like, okay. But she's blowing it off. But everything about Jon Snow is like the way he challenges her. She's, you know, way his nobility and all the way he, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's really cool, and it feels natural and it feels all cool and everything. So when they get to the boat and it's like, yeah, it's, you know, by the time they get to this episode, they have the conversations, and the way she looks at him, just when he says, you know, I align myself with her, just like, oh my God, he's not a jerk. He's not a turncoat. She's smitten by that. And he just likes her because he likes her. And she's a great person in general when she's not, you know, burning everything. Anyway, when they get, you know, fired, it's a nice passionate moment and all that. Only thing that ruins it, and I really don't know yet how I feel about this. But it's just the whole thing that was touched on last season at the end, with, you know, where Jon Snow truly comes from. The fact that he's part Targaryen, and by the laws of which I've looked, and by the laws of which this family order goes, she would be technically her aunt, I believe. If that's wrong, comment me. Let me know now. Hurry up. Her aunt, his aunt, and they really, really like each other, like each other, like a lot. And that's no, we ain't doing that. No, we ain't. No, stop. That's the only thing that's ruining it. You really want to be like, ooh, because these are the two protagonists that for the longest time we've been built. Okay, these are the two. Between these two, the world will be set right. So when we see this, it's kind of like freaking me out. God. But, you know, it's like, you want it to be like, okay, yeah. Almost, and, you know, like you said, with Jaime being a good guy-ish, we're kind of going to like, we want this man to be happy, but at the same time, it's like, look, we don't want you doing this nasty, scoodly poopling with your sister. And the same with Jon Snow. He doesn't know it yet. And she doesn't know it yet. Yeah, let's go. But for the rest of us, it's kind of like I know a lot of people are shipping it like, oh yes, we want to see this. Me personally, if you took that out of the equation, that they were related, take that out of the equation. If they weren't related, sure, fine, do it. Just do that for a whole episode. I don't care. But the fact that this is murky water here. This is really, really thick, murky water. This is Flint, Michigan, dirty water that I ain't trying to get into. And I know when John finds out about this, he gonna be sitting here. He gonna be looking out the window like this the rest of his life. He gonna be like Tommen. That's what he's gonna be like. He's gonna be like Tommen, and he's gonna just jump. He's just gonna fall out the window because this is. Oh no, we're not gonna do that. In the words of my roommate, oh no. So yeah, and it's revealed like, okay, so basically, because of his Targaryen lineage, Jon Snow really is not Jon Snow. Jon Snow is really Jon Sand. Whew, okay, wow. But yeah, that's where we're headed. But before this episode ends, before, you know, we head into the year and a half long break, we see something like, and I think I alluded to this earlier. I've never seen anything like this before. This threat of the White Walkers, the Night King, is the scariest thing I think I've ever seen in my life. In terms of stories, in terms of nightmares, It ranks out there with like the scariest thing that you could see on a show or a movie or any form of entertainment. Believe me, at this point I've read 100 plus comics. I've watched so many shows. I've seen so many movies. I've never seen anything like this before. What happens is we're at the wall. We see Tormund Giantsbane and Fire Sword One Eye guy. I wish I knew his name. They're chatting. They're like, "Yeah, it's cold." Tormund's like, "Yeah, Jon Snow said I get used to it. Still haven't. Being up this high." And then the White Walker army just approaches them on the wall. People at the wall, they get ready to like throw down because this is what they're about to do. And they're standing there, and you see the giants that are. By the way, before I forget, Cersei made a point at saying the Iron Bank when she was talking to Jaime about the Iron Bank, like, we'll be fine because the Iron Bank, they got army too because they want their debt paid and all that, and they got army, they got elephants in their army, so we could be okay. And Jaime didn't believe her. This army, we got the White Walker giants, which is scary enough, but Viserion, the dragon that unfortunately passed away in the last episode and was brought back from the dead. The Night King is riding Viserion. Viserion, and there's a couple issues with Game of Thrones. One of the things that I wish wish could have been developed on earlier back on the show was the dragons in themselves as individual characters, because they're her daughters in the sense that my two dogs are my sisters, but between Drogon was the one. Okay, that's Drogon, the big black and red one, but the other two kind of were just in the background. The most we got from them in the last couple seasons was when Tyrion went up and took the shackles off of them. But we never got to really understand the difference between each and every last one of them, outside of Drogon's the biggest, and the other two are just different colors. That was the most difference we got off of them. But in terms of wrestling, that'd be like, hey, we got this cool wrestler. Let's put something on here so we can really set them apart. The last two episodes has been the biggest push for Viserion as we have ever seen for any character on this show. Because not only was Viserion brought back from the dead and became a White Walker, he is the dragon of the Night King. Way back when, me and my aunt predicted, or she told me predictions of Daenerys could ride one of these. Bran's probably going to ride the other because he can see stuff and he can control other creatures like he did with Hodor. The other one was probably going to be ridden by Tyrion. And then we saw the episode with Jon Snow. A couple episodes back where Jon Snow petted, I think it was Drogon. And it was like, he's the dragons understand his bloodline, so they're not too intoned of killing him. They understand what he is. So it's like, okay, that's interesting, but I did not see this coming. I don't think I'm not just a zombie dragon, a zombie ice fire breathing dragon. I've never in my entire life imagined that. Why? Because who thinks of that? But it's freaking amazing. Oh my goodness. And it's frightening. The dragon, Viserion, basically takes out the wall. Some of the guys get off. It's left ambiguous as to whether or not Tormund and the other guy live. We see them not die, but we don't know really if they live. Viserion takes off a lot of the wall so the White Walker army can get through. And the Night King rides off, and we see sweeping shots of the army coming in the snow. As when Jaime rid off away from Cersei, as he was out there in his normal clothes, I should say, snow fell. So winter is here. Undoubtedly, winter is here. And you see this army, and they're walking, and winter has come, and they're on their way off to Westeros. The Iron Bank is in Essos, so whatever the Elephant Army can handle, it's way off away. We got one season left, 6 episodes. They're all gonna. I don't. Okay, like I said, this is so good. When I watched that last scene, I was sitting there thinking, "Oh snap! What am I gonna do when the White Walker army comes?" I'm thinking the army's coming after me. I'm sitting on the freaking couch. That is so good. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this was serious. Okay, whatever Drogon and the other fella dragon, whatever they're gonna have to deal with. Jeez, Syrian he's gonna take one of them out. It might be Drogon, and it leads even more into the idea that John Campion on his YouTube channel brought up. John Campion, I don't know if Daenerys is gonna make it out of season 8. I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's Jon Snow's probably gonna Jon Sand, I should say now, is probably gonna end up running things. I guess if this ends a happy ending, it'll be Jon Sand at the top of the throne. And I'm buying into that. I'm at the point in my life where it's kind of like, didn't want the throne. Now, nothing's going to send me to get it. I understand what Jon Snow's kind of dealing with. But, still, it's one of those things, like I said, hopefully this show is not trying to say, hopefully it's not trying to be like, oh yeah, incest, cool. Hopefully it's something else. And like I said, this is metal. Oh my goodness. Who thought of that? Ice dragons, zombie army, we're gonna take them all on. That is awesome. Oh my god, this was a fantastic, fantastic episode. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. That was awesome. I cannot wait for season 8. I can't believe I gotta wait a year and a half to watch it, but I can't wait for it. So, as I wrap this up, real thing I have to say. The only question I got for you, son, daughter. What you think about the episode? Tell me about it. I got comment sections for that. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. If you dislike the video, hit the dislike button. If you got something to say to me, or if you just want to share your opinions about the episode, me, anything, my new setup, tell me about it in the comment section below. This is Justice Stimmons, Project 3319. You can follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, @Justice Stimmons. Now, Game of Thrones videos, gonna be a while before you see another one. But, whew, good stuff. So, I guess that about wraps it up. I'll catch you guys soon. Peace out. Winter is here. Wait, for those of you still watching, post-credit scene. Winter is here! Okay, now I'm done.